will point out a moment that people, I think, often forget. At the beginning of Star Wars Month, we finally have arrived at the end of the series review of the original 6 Star Wars films with Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, released in 2005. The origin story of one of the cinema's most legendary villains of all time, Darth Vader, comes to a close with Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The Clone Wars have been raging for 3 years at this point, and everything's wrapped up in conflict or way too many memes.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Hello there.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
The film unfortunately was backed into a corner because we have to have Anakin, the protagonist, become the antagonist, Darth Vader, by the end of the film. This causes the movie to feel very rushed, especially during the time between the Battle over Coruscant and the arrest of Palpatine. The events that unfold involves Anakin's relationships with Padme, Palpatine, Obi-Wan, and the Jedi. In some cases, like with Anakin meeting with Yoda and hearing the legend of Darth Plagueis, it works because we see the conflict within Anakin and either choosing to let go of his desires or to continue to be obsessed by them. These scenes are but exceptions, as the rest of this time frame, besides being remarkably slow compared to latter parts of the film, has several issues. As mentioned above, the film must get Anakin from being the hero that saves his leader at the beginning of the movie to about 2/3 of the way in being the villain that orders his own troops to gun down children. In this, the film uses nightmares to fuel Anakin's fears, unfavorable decisions from the Jedi to fuel Anakin's anger, but there seems to be something missing. Some may point back to Anakin killing the Sand People in Episode 2, but that was in a burst of rage, and he even admits afterwards that he shouldn't have done it. This is where I'll say that Revenge of the Sith probably should have been closer to 3 hours long and not just 2 hours and 20 minutes, because we needed to see more of what is pushing Anakin over the edge. Outside this problematic time frame, the movie does get many of its elements spot on. The opening battle sequence over Coruscant that ends with saving the Chancellor is awesome. The way that the first and subsequent shots are framed show us that this is a war film, and we are dropped right into it. Something else of note is how the sequence through its dialogue shows the passage of time and the growth in the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. They are not a teacher and a student, they are a formidable team of warriors. The same concept is communicated through Anakin overcoming his rival, Count Dooku, as he repays the Sith Lord for losing his arm. This film is remembered for its lightsaber combat, like the fight we just described, and for good reason. This film undeniably has the best action out of any Star Wars film, and the lightsaber fight scenes are a part of that. Now that doesn't mean that all of them are great, as there are some issues that need to be addressed. The first is the confrontation between Obi-Wan and General Grievous. The lightsaber portion of this fight is unrealistically easy for Obi-Wan. Yes, the point of the scene may not have been to be an impressive exchange of blades, and yes, I know that in the Clone Wars series they had Obi-Wan and Grievous fight several times to set up the former being used to the latter's moveset. But these arguments still don't keep this part of the scene from feeling like it was cut short. The arrest of Palpatine is, however, the film's most problematic fight scene. Palpatine turns a 1v4 into a 1v1 in a matter of seconds. Here's what the filmmakers were trying to do. They were trying to show how strong Palpatine is, but you don't need to do something like this to sell it. This scene reminds me of the extended scene from The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, where the Witch King breaks Gandalf the White's staff that was very wisely cut for the theatrical release of the film. This scene feels especially silly considering the Lord of the Nazgul does get killed off minutes later by Merry and Eowyn. Going back to Revenge, you can show the main villain's power in better ways, and I believe they planned to do this, but they cut the scene down probably because they didn't want it to last too long, but I think it needed to be longer. There isn't much more to say about the Order 66 scenes, as I believe they executed it quite well, especially with the display of Palpatine's sway of influence as he takes power as the Emperor. I will point out a moment that people, I think, often forget. Anakin killing the Separatist leaders. This is a great film moment, as we are upset that Anakin is going bad, but we feel satisfied to see that Viceroy Gunray is finally getting what's coming to him after, being the one who wanted to kill Padme ever since the first film. We then get to the turning point of the saga with Obi-Wan versus Anakin and Yoda versus Sidious. Both fight scenes are awesome, but the former is the famous one for a reason. Actors Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor tried their best to make this scene as authentic and brutal as possible, and we can still see the payoff to this day. We also get to see the tragic reality of Obi-Wan's character and how he's different from Luke. One believed in Anakin, and the other did not. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is the best of the prequel films without question. It takes what worked from the first two films and made it better, especially the action, but unfortunately did not get rid of all the problems present. The film was unfortunately backed into a corner and took logic leaps to get out. I still really like this movie, but with all these things considered, Revenge of the Sith gets a 7 out of 10. Hello everyone, welcome back to Movies with Michael, and if you enjoyed this movie review, you can show by leaving a like on this video. Comment down below what you think about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Do you love it the way that some people do, or are you still skeptical of it like I am? You can tell me all that down below in the comments section, and please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the notification icon to be notified about my latest videos. And also don't forget that this YouTube channel now has its own Instagram account, so you can click the link in the description below to follow the channel on Instagram. But that's all for now, and I'll see you all next time.